But just to set up our discussion, we are talking about continuous improvement and how that accelerates our excellence journey. And just to link it back with the Baldrige criteria, we wanted to set the foundation with this because the Baldrige criteria ask what are the key elements of your performance improvement system, and how do you design, manage, and improve your services, products, and work processes. And so today, because we need a systematic approach to that, we're all going to talk about how our organizations use the criteria and use continuous improvement in a systematic approach to accelerate excellence. So I'm going to turn it over to Carrie Hill to start out.
Thank you so much. Well, I really came here to tell you a bunch of lies, and as it turns out, the owner of Mesa is right here, so now I've got to tell you the truth. So thanks. I didn't know you were going to be in this presentation. Yeah, so that's kind of ruined my whole spiel right now. Well, listen, thanks for sharing the time. So when I'm not doing my two most important jobs, which is being a husband to Nilsa and a dad to Emily and Allie, the good folks at Mesa let me hang out there and work with them for a little bit. And I got to tell you, when Susan asked me to participate in this session, I was a little bit hesitant because I wouldn't really call Mesa a role model for any improvement methodologies. I mean, would you tend to agree with that? I mean, we were not the poster child for Lean or Six Sigma or anything like that. But at the same time, we're probably we're one of 6 or 8, depending on how you define that, one of 6 two-time recipients of the Mountain Baldrige National Quality Award. So maybe we must be doing something right. So as I thought about that, I thought my contribution to this session might be describing what I think our strength is. And I think our strength is that we really are pretty disciplined and persistent at focusing our improvement efforts at what I'm going to call the vital few things. You know, those few things that we think we've got to do to be successful in our business, in our industry. And so I'm going to talk about that. We talk about doing things the Mesa way at our company, and so that's kind of a little fluffy term that we throw around sometimes. Maybe we don't always know what that means. It's kind of one of those things where you know it when you see it, but I'm going to try to put a face to it today for you. So this kind of fell off the screen on me here. It's kind of ruining my spiel here. So for us at Mesa, you know, it really all begins and ends with the customer, and hopefully in your organization it does too. By the way, is there anybody in here who works for an organization that doesn't have customers? I might want to join that organization. Maybe not. So it really begins with customer requirements, ends with customer satisfaction. You know, if you were to do that, if you were to take those requirements and satisfy a customer over and over and over again, probably do all right for yourself, wouldn't you? And that's true at Mesa. I mean, that's where our improvement efforts are really directed, is to improve that customer's experience and satisfaction with Mesa. So if it begins and ends with the customer, then it's got to rise and fall on leadership, right? Because everybody in here is a leader, and you know nothing happens in your organization without leadership making it happen. So that's true at Mesa. We're blessed with a lot of great leaders throughout our organization, either by title or just by the influence they have. You know, you don't have to be called a manager to be a leader. We've got a lot of those folks, and so that really helps drive improvement in our organization. So if I'm talking about the very vital few things that we want to direct our improvement efforts at, it's got to be those big flowery statements that you have in your organization. Maybe you call them your mission, vision, and values. Harry's got this sick affinity for the letter P, and so we call them our purpose, our path, and our principles. And so you know, our improvement efforts are going to be directed towards achieving those things, achieving our purpose. So our purpose is to safely deliver innovative solutions through world-class performance. We're always going to come back to drive an improvement to reach that purpose. Our principles, you know, we're going to calibrate ourselves and where we're at in our organization against those values, right? Are we living out those values? And if not, what improvements do we need to make? So At the highest level, we're going to be really disciplined and really focused and really persistent at driving improvements towards those philosophies. So, in our Mesa Way picture here, you know, our purpose is really where we're headed, right? And we get there through our customers. So if we're satisfying a customer over and over and over again, always improving that experience, we're probably going to reach that purpose. We're probably going to lead the industry with innovative solutions, safely delivering innovative solutions to world-class performance. We're probably going to get there if we're doing that. Our path is kind of how we get there, through our people and our processes and our products, etc. And then our principles kind of define the boundaries for us, right? What we will and won't do. And so again, that's we're driving improvements towards those primary philosophies. So to get there, some really smart people, probably 15 or 16 years ago at Mesa, sat down and said, hey, what are the things that we've got to do to be successful in our industry to reach that purpose? And so they came up with 5 things at the time. And those 5 things have been our 5 things for the last 15 or 16 years. And it's not that, well, it may be that we're not smart enough to come up with another one, but they just seem to fit. We come back to those over and over again. Last year we added a 6th, and so now we've got our 6 things, right? And these are the 6 things. These are the way we're gonna move towards our purpose. And again, we're gonna direct all our improvement efforts towards those 6 things. We're going to get better and better and better at those things. And for at least 5 of them, we've spent the last 15 or 16 years getting better and better and better. And we're just now getting to be pretty good at those things after about 15 or 16 years. The 6th one is safety that we added last year because it's just become so important. It's always important for us to be safe, but even more so now. Our industry, our customers' safety is such a huge deal that we've got to rise in our safety performance really to world-class level. So the 6th one became safety for us. And again, we're gonna focus all of our improvement efforts on those 6 things. So just fitting this into the Mesa Way picture, some of those are outcomes, right? World-class performance and great service. Some of those are inputs into our system, and they're gonna guide some of the processes that we have, but we're always going to come back to those things to direct our improvement efforts towards. So the way we're going to operationalize those things are through processes. Everybody's got processes. It's just a matter of whether your processes are good and how well they're working together. So we've got processes in our business, our key work processes. Some of those have to do with the resources that we use in our business. And so we've got to have people, we've got to have equipment, we've got to have supplier relationships. Those are all things that are inputs into the stuff into the sexy stuff that we do, right? And so again, our improvement efforts are going to come and be focused on those key work processes. We're going to make those better every year so we achieve those strategic objectives so that we ultimately achieve our purpose, right? We've got the stuff that we do, our performance, key work processes, kind of follow that traditional project management set of processes. But that's kind of it. That's if you were to sum up what we call the Mesa Way, that would be it. That's how we do business. That's how we manage our business, and that's what all of our improvement efforts are directed towards. Now again, you're going to hear from superstars today in terms of the methodologies that they use. We're not superstars. But we're like Rocky Balboa, all right? We just keep coming. Rocky Balboa, is that a fair? Yeah. We just keep coming at it, okay? You get hit, you get knocked down, we get back up, and we keep coming at it. So another smart guy by the name of Jim Collins wrote a book called Good to Great. And in that book, he describes something called the flywheel. And so the flywheel, if you're familiar with that concept, is just a big cylindrical, massive object. And it's your job to get that thing moving. It probably weighs tons, but it's your job to get that moving. So what happens on the first turn? I mean, you're huffing and puffing and sweating and about to pass out, and you get it around that first time. It took everything you had to get it around that first time, but you did it. And the second time around, you're huffing and puffing, and it took almost everything you had because it was just a little bit easier that time. Third time, just a little bit easier. Fourth time, just a little, until finally, it's going around on its own momentum. And then you hit some breakthrough, and it's just taken off. Well, that flywheel concept, I think, is our contribution to this conversation. I think that's where we excel, is that we've taken those 6 things and focused our improvement efforts on those 6 things over and over and over and over again in a really disciplined, persistent manner. And we've just gotten really good at least 5 of them so far. And we're working on the 6th. But that whole process kind of falls in line with what you might describe as a plan, do, check, act cycle. And so that's our flywheel. We're going to come back to those things every year and ask ourselves, where do we need to improve in those 6 things to achieve our purpose? That's kind of our secret of success. Terry's a really smart guy. The rest of us aren't all that smart. And so we're not going to come up with fancy things. That's a pretty common sense way to approach process improvement for us. I've used this story in different venues over the last couple of years, and maybe you've heard of this one, but the story goes about Chick-fil-A. Anybody eat Chick-fil-A? Have you heard this story before? No. Okay. You've eaten at Chick-fil-A, little chicken mini, warm biscuit, little soft, moist piece of chicken in there. It's delicious. So the story goes about Chick-fil-A that back in the 90s, Chick-fil-A was experienced a lot of competition from Boston Market, if you remember the Boston Markets. And so Boston Market had a goal to reach $1 billion in revenue. And so the people at Chick-fil-A, I mean, they had a lot of young, energetic, creative people, and they said, hey, look, if Boston Market's going to reach $1 billion, then we need to reach, to grow to $1 billion. And so they set out to come up with different ways that they could grow to be $1 billion company. And the founder of Chick-fil-A is a guy by the name of Truett Cathy. Mr. Cathy passed away this past year. But if you know Truett Cathy, he's a kind of a gentle guy. But the legend has it that they were in the Chick-fil-A conference room, and they were throwing around all the different ideas about how they could grow revenue to be $1 billion. And finally, Mr. Cathy, uncharacteristically, I suppose, started pounding his fist on the conference room table, which immediately caused everybody's attention to go towards him. The room went silent. And so Mr. Cathy said something that has just resonated with me for the last couple of years. And he said, look, I'm sick and tired of listening about how we can grow bigger. He said, if we'll just get better, our customers will demand that we get bigger. Okay, now I didn't see everybody write that down. Write that down and put that up in your office and in your plants and everything. If we just get better, our customers will demand that we get bigger. Now, at Mesa, we're not great marketers, we're not great salespeople, but we've had a pretty decent growth rate since we started. Since Terry started this business out of his, what was it, a Toyota Pinto? Toyota, yeah. We've had a pretty decent growth rate. But it's not because we're great at selling stuff. We've just gotten better. And our customers have demanded that we've gotten bigger. So our secret, our contribution to this discussion is we've got to focus those improvement efforts on those vital few things that are going to make us better and just keep coming back to those every year. So I'm excited to hear from this group of superstars who's going to share with you all the great things that they do. But thanks for listening to the Mesa story.
All right, my first test. Can I operate the? Looks like I'm bad. So I want to learn a little bit about the people I'm speaking to before I get started. So how many of you are on a formal Baldrige journey right now, or a state, maybe a state award journey? Okay, a couple of you. How many are on, you would say, some kind of formal continuous improvement journey using Lean Six Sigma, PDCA, Toyota Production System, whatever you want to call it, 30 constraints? A couple of you. Interesting. So how many people are looking to do something like that and want to learn from us? A couple of you. I'm not sure why the rest of you are here. Hopefully we meet your expectations. So a little bit about VGT. Video Gaming Technologies is the leading leading provider of Class 2 gaming systems in, is it the country, the world? I don't know. We're big. So we have a sample right outside the door. We're in 3 locations. Tennessee is our headquarters, just south of Franklin. Tulsa is where we do most of our operational work, and then we have a game design studio in Reno. What's not on this picture that became really significant very recently is that we just have been acquired. So now we are part of Aristocrat. We're an Aristocrat company, DGT, an Aristocrat company. And so this purpose statement is very new to us. It's only a couple weeks old. It's not too dissimilar to the one that we had, but it is new. And so there's a little bit of uncertainty in what's going on now. So what is our approach to continuous improvement? Our approach really starts with the Baldrige system. It's going through and writing an application, getting feedback reports, and then matrixing those feedback reports, and because you're going to get a bunch of stuff and you can't work on it all. So what is the most important thing? We also have our balanced scorecard system, which tells us how we expect to perform in relation to our financial expectations and our customer expectations and our performance expectations and our how we deal with our workforce. And so those set targets and goals, and those together have really, up to now, fed our continuous improvement plan. And so in that, how we go about attacking those things that end up on our continuous improvement plan have been, some of the traditional tools that you're talking about, lean. We don't have a formal Six Sigma process, although we pull some tools in. Big project management, action planning, and then Agile, which does anybody know Agile Scrum? Is anybody familiar with that term? Not very many. If I want to just put it in a nutshell, Agile Scrum is a way to apply lean to a software development. That's how it was introduced to software development. What I found through my own study is that it has a lot of application outside of software development. In fact, if you're interested, there's a TED Talk. If you Google or put in a search for TED Talk on Agile Scrum, you'll find a guy that uses it in his family, and it's pretty interesting. It's about 10 minutes. The reason we selected really to make the Baldrige criteria our cornerstone is because it's globally recognized, it's comprehensive, and I do want to spend a little bit of time on that. Helps align the organization. It enables us to benchmark. Because the criteria is written in a way that everybody's going towards the same goals, you can find ways to benchmark yourselves against not just manufacturing or software development, but education institutions, hospitals, fast food industries. I was just at PAL's Business Excellence Institute last week. And so at first you're like, what does a drive-through restaurant have to do with making video gaming technology? It's amazing how many things really apply. And then you get those feedback reports. You get experts. You get a cross-section of experts to come into your business for, depending on what you apply for, a couple of days. Look at your business and tell you areas where you can improve. Tell you what you're doing well and where you can improve. So that's really neat to get outside view, because sometimes you think you're pretty good at something, and then you get that feedback report and you're like, darn it, they're right. We're not really that good at that. So it's a way to kind of bridge the blind spots for yourself. So I was kind of, when this was pitched to me, it was pitched as, hey, there's people that aren't sure whether they want to do Baldrige or lean. I'm not sure that's why you're actually here, but when I developed those slides, this was the purpose of this. So I'm not here to bash lean. I've been doing lean for 12 years. I love it. I believe it. I want to live it more. I want to live it in my own life. So this is not here to bash lean, but in the 12 years and probably more in my career, I've kind of initiated lean in 4 or 5 organizations throughout that time. And I have some things that I'm very proud of, and I have some things I'd rather not talk to you about. And so as I just did a Google search, just because of this class, and I Googled, why do lean transformations fail? And I started reading article after article after article, and I found that these things kept coming up as themes, not connected to the strategy. Well, guess what? There's something in the Baldrige criteria about, how do you develop strategy? People versus process design. Some people hire a hotshot lean guy to come in and fix the business, and everything goes really well until that guy decides to go to another company and it all falls apart. So there's no sustainability built in. Sustainability is part of the criteria. Focusing on the tools rather than the culture. When you learn 5S, everything looks, the 5S hammer, everything looks like a 5S nail or whatever. But it's really more about the culture. If you don't have the culture in place, you can't sustain anything you do, and that actually hurts yourself because you lose credibility within your organization when somebody dedicates time to fix something, then you as a leader, you don't support it, or the culture isn't there to sustain it. People don't want to do that for very long. It's a waste of time. So culture is big in the criteria. Not engaging the workforce, same thing. Telling somebody to do something and not really training them or explaining to them why. Conflicting matrix, you have a whole section on how to develop metrics. Senior leaders not leading. I love hearing Mesa. I love hearing the Mesa story. I refer to you all. I've heard you speak dozens of times in Tennessee, and every time I learn something when I learn about the Mesa story, but it's about strong leadership and really walking the talk. And if you don't have the strong leadership, it's just not, you can't delegate that to somebody else. You can hire somebody like me to help you implement it and to help you push it, but you can't delegate it to somebody like me. That's part of those things I'm not very proud of it, is when it was my job and the leaders didn't want to deal with it. Suppliers and customers, lack of learning and training, we already talked about that. So how has it intersected with our journey? So it's not like we never did continuous improvement before Baldrige came along, but what we found was we were way more over here on your left. It was what we call random acts of improvement. We're doing things, do they make a difference? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. And I'm not saying we're here yet, but the Baldrige has helped us kind of come this way a little bit. And so we want to get to this. We want to get to where we've got strong alignment with everything that we're doing and that we know what to say yes to and what to say no to, because those are both very important things. So I could show you charts and I could show you, finances and those kinds of things. And I don't know that was the right thing to show you. So what has Baldrige done for us? It's given us a common language. It's kind of neat and I'm not saying the whole company is like this, but as we start to develop people in Baldrige, we understand that we all of a sudden start to have the same understanding of words and what we mean. It increases our associate engagement. So people get pretty excited when they get to go get Baldrige training and then go to somebody else's organization and then come back and they're pretty jazzed up about that. It helps us recognize new opportunities. We talked about that people come into our organization, or even the process of writing the application. If you do that well, you can say, ooh, I don't have a good answer for that. We do that pretty poorly. And then, so that should be an opportunity for you to fix that. And then, just more strategic focus. These are some things that we've done this year. Our strategic planning process has gotten a lot better. Our budgeting process, I don't want to talk about what it was before, but now it looks like probably a normal businesses does. We see ourselves reducing costs and stabilizing a lot of our processes. So where's our challenges? We're still struggling with cooperation. We have Oklahoma, you saw the different plants, and everybody's at a different level in their journey, and to be quite honest, some people aren't even on the journey at all. So our challenge is how do we make that our directive? That's what we're going to do. We have people that are in it for either they think it's about the award or they're in it for the award, and it's not about the award. The award doesn't mean anything. I've heard Terry say that just because they won, the national award doesn't mean that they don't still have OPs. You still have OPs. Leaders not supporting and driving the journey. And this one I really want to talk about. This seems to be our biggest problem is how do I make the time for that? And so this is a matrix, and I know you can't really see it, but this is the amount of time you spend in a day, and this is your level in the organization. And you can see as you're moving from whatever the line work or whatever you call it in your organization up to your top management, you have to spend time in strategic thinking and continuous improvement. I like to call it spending time on the business rather than just in the business. And it's just a fact of life. You have to find a way to do that. So again, we don't really have any surprises here. We plan to rewrite our application. Right now, of course, with the acquisition, we don't even know what some of our processes are, so we have to spend a couple of months figuring out what those are. Then we'll have to work on deploying them and then, learning from them and integrating them. The whole ADLI approach is just brilliant. We do want to at some point submit. This will probably be pushed back now, but we want to submit at a national level and compete on a national level. Not so much for the award, but so that we're getting, we're comparing ourselves to the best in the nation. I think that'll open up a whole new set of opportunities for us. We still have some work to do in our strategic deployment. We have some people that are pretty good at it, and we have some people that really aren't. So how do we get everybody up to the same level? We are on track to be ISO 9001 certified this year, and then we'll worry about the 2015 revisions of that. And then, we do value stream. I said value stream maps, but I don't want to throw too much terminology. But it's just a basic way of looking at, kind of drawing a very simplistic picture of a process or a set of processes delivered to a customer and looking for those high-level things. Again, focusing on the most important things. So we've done it kind of in our software our technology plan and in our assembly plan. So those are our plans in the future. And so I appreciate your time, and I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Sproul now.
Sometimes I'm technology impaired. I hope this is not one of those times. Oh, I got it. Thank you. Oh, whoopsie. All right. Sorry. At least I know what I'm not good at. I think that's one of our steps. Yay. Promise I won't do that again. You know, we all spend many waking hours in the workplace. I don't know about you, but I'd like to think that I have some control over some of that time that we spend. We spend more time at work than we spend with our families or anywhere else. You know, we come in, we do our jobs, we go home, we do it all over again. But what if we did something different? What if we did something to actually make our workplace a place that we wanted to be in? What if we looked at ways to improve our organization? What if we looked at ways to make our organization a healthier place, a more productive place, a more meaningful place? I'd like to think all that time that we spent would be better spent than we're spending it now. You know, that's the very essence of excellence and accelerating that and helping each other to be able to do better. At Tri-County, our vision is inspiring success through life-changing learning experiences. We are a public school. We are a public technology center located in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, and we serve 3 counties, Nowata, Osage, and Washington. We're not big like Paul was talking about, VGT. We're the little engine that could. We are. We have 98 employees, and we call them educators. We have 5 education service offerings. Now, when you think of technology centers, you don't know because you don't know our words, but you think of full-time programs. You think of welding, cosmetology, construction, kids and adults coming to school during the day, but we're much more than that. We have flexible programs in the evenings to help adults get certifications and licenses so they can balance their life and have full-time jobs and families and get a license or a credential so they can get a job. We have fast-track programs. Those are mainly in the health industry, certified medication aid, certified nursing aid, where people quick, maybe in 3 or 4 months can get a license and then get to work. We offer business training services for people just like you. We do cubby training. We do leadership training. We do safety training. Forklift. You need forklift, Terry? Give me a call. I've got some forklift trainers that I can help you with. That's our business services division. And we have conferences, just like this one. In our building, we have conference and event meeting services. So we're much more than just full-time programs. Our approach to improvement, much like what Carrie talked about with Mesa, is PDCA. We didn't invent PDCA at Tri-County Technology Center, but what I'm mainly going to talk to you about today is the first part of that step, which is the plan. Because the plan is so very important. And the plan is when you set your goals, your measures, what it is that you want to do in education. We're always asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? That's what the plan is. What do you want to be when you grow up? We have a well-defined process that I'm really proud of. I do want to go back though and give credit to where PDCA first came from. It was Dr. Schuhart in the 30s, actually. First talked about, he's kind of the father of total quality management. Some of us remember that, studying that maybe in business school. Excuse me, I'm taking an allergy medicine. He was the first one that talked about the importance of adapting management practices to make customers happier and to look at the variations and adapting the management processes to meet that. Dr. Deming was actually a student of Dr. Schuhart, And he was the one that made it a loop, a feedback loop, that if we did continuous improvement in a loop, that's what we could do to really make a difference in our processes and change the part of the process that's breaking down. You know, most of us have big dreams for our organizations, huge things that we would like to see done. They can seem impossible to accomplish, but I am here to tell you that any organization of any size can do big things. The power is in the plan. If you don't have a plan, I heard someone say the other day of their CEO, this was kind of a bad thing, it wasn't about you. It was, they never met an idea they didn't like. Yeah, we don't want to be that way. We don't want to be that way. We want to know where it is we're going and be able to make good decisions about how it is that we're going to get there. We have a plan. Tri-County has a well-defined plan for excellence. And I'm not going to go over all these pieces here, but it allows for noticeable and tangible results. And our plan is called Vision 2020, and it's a document, an actual measurable plan that we'll be able to establish great big goals to meet the needs of our students and our stakeholders. I want to back up for a minute though and talk to you a little bit about deployment. I'm very proud of the fact that our vision is deployed throughout our organization, that every one of our 98 educators, from our building and grounds technician to our CEO who wasn't here, he had to leave to go make a video, know their contribution that they are making to the vision. So this is Benny McClintock. I call Benny our yard man, okay? Keeps our flowers planted, helps keep our lawns mowed, keeps our trees picked up. And this is what Benny said. One day at a meeting just like this, we passed out note cards and we asked everyone, hey, write down how you inspire success. What do you do to help our students inspire success? And this is what Benny wrote down. I inspire success by taking care of the Tri-County Technology Center landscaping. When teachers and students come onto the campus, it's my goal to make them feel as if something special is about to happen. And when they go to their classrooms, it does. I think that's pretty super that someone that is our building and grounds technician knows what he is doing to help us be able to implement our plan of excellence. If you want to see the rest of our plan of excellence, including what I wrote and our CEO wrote, you can go to our website, tricountytech.edu. There are pictures of every single one of our 98 educators, and underneath our names are what we did, what we feel we can do to inspire excellence. We're a fan of Jim Collins as well. Another term that Jim Collins coined was BHAG. Have you guys heard of BHAG? Big, hairy, audacious goals. At Tri-County, we actually have BHAGs, measurable BHAGs, but accomplishing any one of these goals would put us among the elite educational institutions in the country. But together, make our Vision 2020. They align with our strategic aims. They align with our strategic aims. We have 4 strategic aims: instructional and learning excellence, employee development and well-being, economic and community development, and fiscal and operational effectiveness. So we have a BHAG aligned with each one of those strategic aims, which incidentally, we have 4 senior leaders that are aligned with each one of those strategic aims. So our annual operational plan aligns with our Vision 2020. Then we have work group plans that align with our annual operation plan. Then we have individual plans. I have a plan of goals that align with the work group plan. So everything is alignment so we can get to these great big goals by 2020. Those are big deals, aren't they? They're kind of impressive written up there. But what I want you to know, Carrie said their journey had been 16 years. Our journey has been 10 years. We didn't come out of the box like this, okay? In 2006, we were awarded the Commitment to Quality Award. That's been a little while down the road. I remember right before that, we went to our first Quest for Excellence. I don't know if any of you have been to Quest for Excellence in Washington, D.C. We took our whole leadership team. We didn't even know what the names of the meetings were. We didn't know what meetings we were supposed to go to. We were so far not a quality organization. Words like system perspective, multiple requirements, deployment, which was not a military action. We found that out when we were there. Mature processes, benchmarkings. Honestly, we didn't even know what OP stood for and what that meant. So we have come a long way, baby, on our journey, and we're certainly not there yet, but we left that meeting empowered and inspired that we were going to come together to set some big, hairy, audacious goals and achieve those goals. I want to tell you real quick some of our results. We're the only technology center, the only public technology center that I know of, and if you find another one, send me a note, that is free from federal funding. We do not accept any federal funding at our school. Our enrollment last year was over 14,600 students. We're getting really close to that 15,000 BHAG, and I'm pretty sure we'll get to our 2020 goal this year. We're financially stable. In a time when they're talking about state budget cuts and ad valorem taxes going down, we have given raises and bonuses every single year. We were awarded the second best place to work in Oklahoma by OK Biz magazine, and we're on our way to be recognized as a top place to work in Oklahoma, one of our Vision 2020 goals. Our students make great starting wages. Last year they made $14.40 after graduating from Tri-County Tech, starting their very first jobs. I think that's a pretty outstanding wage. Our high school students, 65% of them go on to pursue a post-secondary education. 97% of our graduates earn a license or credential. And then finally, really the one I'm most proud of is 96% of our educators donate their money, their hard-earned money, to our Tri-County Tech Foundation that provides scholarships and emergency assistance to our students. You can do it. We did it. It starts at the beginning, though. The criteria have an order, a purposeful order on purpose. That's what that is for. So after you get your leadership in line and get the right people in the right seats on the right bus, then is strategic planning and work on that. And you can accomplish great things too. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy and Paul and Carrie. That's a hard group to follow, so I thought I'd put up a picture of a beautiful sunset to distract you. I'm going to wrap up with just a brief talk about what Integris Health is doing as far as our lean transformation and how that has impacted our Baldridge journey, and then hopefully we'll have time for a few questions. Integris Health is Oklahoma's largest locally owned healthcare corporation, and our geographic distribution of services is such that 6 of every 10 Oklahomans lives within 30 miles of an Integris Health facility or physician. I won't spend a lot of time on this, as we've heard everybody, has some flowery language around mission, vision, and values. We do believe in these foundational principles, but we will continue on so we can get to the lean part of this, which is what I really want to talk about. We are on a journey to develop a progressively integrated system of care that adds true value. We're calling that One Integris. And our strategic journey is really around the 4 pillars of clinical excellence, service excellence, operational excellence, and team excellence. So we've been on a continuous improvement journey for many years, and all of you who remember the total quality management, we did quality assurance in healthcare back. Marty remembers all of that. I mean, that's not like there's anything new under the sun, but back in about 2005, we were really looking for something that would take us to the next level of quality, in particular around clinical quality. And it was at a time when Lean and Six Sigma were both becoming more popular outside the manufacturing world, and so after careful study, we decided to implement Lean. At the time, it was on the early side for healthcare organizations, because we would still hear the statement when we would talk about it in our organization, well, these are people, not widgets, and that sort of thing. But the truth is that it's very applicable, and when you start to look at the idea, the core idea of eliminating waste or transforming waste into value from the customer's perspective, it really resonates because we hear a lot about waste in healthcare today. We've heard from the government that possibly 35% to 40% of the expenses in healthcare today are waste. So when you look at things like overproduction, that can translate to unnecessary tests and procedures. Defects represent the waste of medical errors. Waiting represents the waste of delays in care. So it's very applicable, and so we have been very deliberate about trying to make it successful in our organization. And I really appreciated the things that Paul put up about the reasons why lean transformations fail, because that is so true, and those were some of the things that we were very intentional about trying to not have happen in our organization. So we made it clear from the beginning that it would have to be a culture change, it would be a long-term transformation, and it would require leadership with courage, discipline, and teamwork to make it happen. So it's been going on for quite a long time. We really started in 2006. In 2007, we hired a director of our Performance Excellence Department. I think she left the room. She was here. And we've really approached it as a learning model. And that was one of the things that Paul talked about as one of the problems with the lean transformation is the need for learning. And so we have created our own Lean Leader Certificate program, so that we have hundreds of people in the organization now that are now both equipped and expected to lead and manage with Lean. The other significant thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm probably going to run out of time here, is our Lean management system, and it's how we deploy our strategic goals from the CEO to the front line to be effective with our strategy. One of the things I wanted to address is that so often Lean is just put into this box of operations focus in the Baldrige criteria, but we see it as a very effective mechanism to address all of the criteria. It requires visionary leadership, it helps us with strategy deployment, it requires us to focus on the customer, and it requires us to engage the workforce, and of course to evaluate results. So this is our model, our Lean Performance System model, and everybody's kind of got a house with some pillars and stuff, so I won't spend a lot of time on that. But you can see that the foundation is Lean learning, and so we believe that is critical to sustainability of our Lean system. Our data walls, just very briefly, we have these visibility walls that help us deploy our strategy. It takes the most important measures from the CEO's data wall and cascades them through all levels of leadership to the front line. So an example here, this is a data wall in one of our Oklahoma City hospitals on a patient care unit. It's in a public hallway. And I mentioned our strategic pillars of service, clinical, operational, and team excellence. And I don't know if this has, I'm afraid to push any buttons. I'd like to use the pointer, but I don't want it to go off the slideshow here. But the way this is used, and you see this in all our patient care units, is that the measures that are on this wall align directly with our strategic goals. And so, patient satisfaction being one of our strategic goals, you will see measures that are specific to this patient care unit around their patient satisfaction levels. So when our chief nursing officer and our hospital president come around and they do their rounds on that floor, they specifically stop at this data wall and talk with caregivers about how is that going, what are you doing to improve, what are your challenges, and how can I help you? So that's how we're deploying Lean through our Lean management system. I think I will stop there. I hope that we have a little bit of time for questions. I know that we are running short, and I can't really read mine. Yes. Okay. maybe we have like time for one or two questions. Yes?
Question for the video gaming. With, now that you guys have been purchased or acquired, does the other company have lean quality measures, those things in place, or you guys gonna have to educate them on why that's important?
Yeah, so, but obviously they do have quality measures in place, but they do not have a formal lean. To my understanding, we're just starting, I mean, we're like in the first week of talks with the formal talks. So to my understanding, they do not have a Baldrige program, we know about that. And to my understanding, they're not really engaging in a formal lean, but they are interested. So yeah, we'll have to educate them and see where we go.